is Angela and thank you for joining me. In today's information snippet, I'll be talking about an area of fitness that is often overlooked, especially as we get older. We tend to focus on just building some strength and building endurance and balance, and we forget to actually look at power. Now, when we talk about muscles, there's two types of fibers, generally speaking, in our muscles. What we call slow twitch muscle fibers, and they're the type of fibers that actually are quite slow to respond to movement. They're very good at endurance, they'll keep going for a long time, and our postural muscles, for example, tend to be slow twitch fibers because they're working all day to keep us upright. But then the other type of muscle fiber is what we call our fast twitch muscle fibers. And these muscles are a little bit different in that they don't have the endurance of our slow twitch muscles. They tend to be bigger muscles, bigger muscle fibers, so we can actually grow them and make them bigger. And as we get older, we tend to actually lose a lot of these types of muscles because we don't work out as much, we lose lean muscle mass, and in the process we also lose our speed. So you will notice that older people on the whole tend to move a little bit slower. So what can we do to actually slow this down? Now, there's a very specific type of training that we need to do for this. As a starting point, strength training is very important because it does directly target these muscles. But to actually build that ability to respond with fast movement means that we do need to do specific training for it. Now, I'm not talking about learning to jump off, tall buildings in a single bound or anything quite that out there, but really just small movements you can incorporate into your day-to-day exercise or even day-to-day activities when you've got breaks. And you'll find that even some of these small exercises that I show you will go a long way towards actually making your fast twitch muscle fibers switch on. That's a mouthful, isn't it? And also get you feeling as if you're just moving with a bit more speed and a bit more grace. So come and join me.
I appreciate this takes a leap of faith, so it's only fitting that the first exercise is a small leap. So imagining that you're jumping over a small crack in the footpath or over a small stream or over the top of a twig, and you've got a little bit of momentum as you're doing it. So we want to be airborne for just a little bit of time as we're doing these little leaps. And as you become more confident, you can get to the point where you're actually leaving the ground with both feet at the same time and landing at the same time as well. So essentially, it's a small jump. We can make this more challenging by making that step a little bit higher. So if you have a step somewhere at home, you can practice just being airborne for just a little bit as you move from ground level up to that step. And again, as you become more confident, you can do it with both feet at the same time. This is also very good for our bone density. So incorporating some jumping or some impact moves like this into our routine not only gives us a bit more dynamic movement, faster movement, but it also does wonders for our bones as well. Please note that as I'm doing these, although I'm making it more challenging in terms of jumping up or leaping up, I'm not actually jumping down off the step. I find that the jumping down combined with the extra gravity pull does put a little bit of excessive load on the joints. So unless you are quite experienced or you have no joint issues at all, I'd be just a little bit cautious of this. This may feel a bit uncomfortable if you have pelvic floor dysfunction, in which case I would suggest taking it easy to start with. And also just make sure that you're always breathing out when you do the actual jumping or the leaping up part of the exercise. And as you can see, it's fairly easy to keep progressing and actually being able to jump higher as you do this, which is great for all our leg muscles as well. Now for an upper body low impact exercise, push-ups. Yes, no one enjoys push-ups, but this is a great way to try and incorporate a little bit of power or dynamic movement into it. So just making sure that you've got strong wrists so that you're not going to do any damage to the joints there, but just trying to do gentle pushes away from the wall if you're starting there. You can then progress this to make it a little bit more challenging, doing it against a kitchen bench, for example. And then from there, pushing away as well, so you're adding that little bit of an impact to that move as well. Regardless of what level you're doing these push-ups at, whether it's against a wall, a bench, or down on the ground, always make sure that you've got that core switched on so that you're not letting your hips dip and you're not allowing your back to overarch. It's very easy to hurt your back if you're not being very careful and if you don't have your core switched on. Moving on now to a range of lower body exercises again that we can do to create a bit more power. And here's one where we're just incorporating a balance exercise with just a little jump, like it's essentially hopping from foot to foot. And from here, you can make this larger. Take the chair away so you've got no support, turn it into more of a skater sort of side lunge. So you've got that little bit of time in the air where you're airborne. This is one of my go-to exercises. It's a squat, or essentially sitting down and standing up. And what you're trying to do is to do as many of them as you can, as fast as you can. I like to do little competitions with my clients where we just, time how long it takes to do 20 squats. And then over time, we just come back and we check and make sure that we're seeing improvement in that area. But the nice thing about it is that anyone can do it, even if you have pelvic floor concerns. If you can't jump, you can at least get up and down. How you can progress this is to essentially get out of a chair and reach up. And the great thing about this is that it includes a lot of those muscles that we would use for jumping as well, right through the front of the body. So it's a nice alternative to actually jumping. And how you can progress this is to actually, if you can, add a jump to it. Just see how much height you can get through that. There are a lot of toys you can use to make your moves dynamic. These medicine balls, which weigh somewhere from about, say 4 or 5 kilos to 10 kilos, are a great tool because you can use them to make your squats a little bit more challenging, throw them in the air, or even slam them down into the ground. Although I won't do that because I've got neighbors downstairs from me. Or kettlebells. This is a great power move. Technique is very important, so I would suggest having a trainer showing you how to do this. But there's a lot of thrusting that goes right through the pelvis there. So it's a really good power move for also engaging those glute muscles and working the whole body. So it is the type of exercise that gets your heart rate up very quickly. And to finish off, I'll just show you a variation of a burpee that you can do. Perhaps trying it with a slightly elevated surface, putting your hands down, even on a chair, stepping out, stepping back in. And then as you progress it, rather than stepping back in, you can jump back in. So you're adding a bit more impact. You can then also, if you're very keen, also jump up as well to make it a bit more of a cardio exercise. It's one of those moves where it does get your heart rate up as well, and it does require a lot of dynamic movement, a lot of fast twitch muscle fibers working there.
I hope you found some of those exercises useful and that there are some options there that will meet you at the level that you're at the moment. Please be very body aware when you introduce power into your fitness routine because it is very easy to get injured. So you do really need to make sure that you do have the joint integrity and that you are working with good form and posture to be able to do these. So that's why it's always very important to work on your posture. Another shameless plug for Pilates. But do have a go at these. See if you can incorporate some of these into your weekly routine or even in your day-to-day movement, whether it's just taking an opportunity to reach up and down. If you can add a little bit of a jump, that's great. Pushing yourself away from a wall, sitting up and down quickly as well. Those sorts of things. Thanks for joining me. If you haven't done so yet, please take a moment to subscribe to my channel, YouTube channel below, and I'll see you next time.